Azimio la Umoja Oka coalition has finally filed the long-awaited presidential petition at the Supreme Court, joining other petitioners challenging the 2022 general election outcome. This as the Kenya Kwanza faction led by Deputy President William Ruto has also said that it will challenge and defend its win at the Supreme Court of Kenya. Good evening and welcome to News Watch tonight. I'm Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin our broadcast. Now, all eyes are set on the Supreme Court of Kenya after the Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition Party, led by the presidential candidate Raila Odinga, filed a petition challenging the August 9th presidential election results. Azimio Oka is opposing the results declared by the IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati on August 15th that saw UDA candidate William Ruto declared president-elect. Chief Justice Martha Koome is leading a 7-judge bench that will decide on the case within 14 days. Dickens Luvanda begins our broadcast with this report.
And once the returning officers complete the process,
the 2022 presidential election petition is likely to take a three-pronged strategy seeking to cast doubts about the figures, the vote tallying, verification, and the August 15th presidential results that were declared by the IEBC. Raila Odinga, the leader of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, who contested in the election on August 9th, led the coalition on Monday in filing the petition against his closest challenger William Ruto, who is of the United Democratic Alliance UDA party, after the Electoral Commission IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati declared him the president-elect.
On August 9th, 2022, millions of Kenyans turned out in large numbers in an attempt to choose their leaders at the national, county, and local levels after long and generally peaceful campaigns. But yesterday, August 15th, our budding democracy suffered a major setback. As a result, Kenya faces a grave legal and political crisis as a result of the actions of Mr. Wafula Chebukati. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law.
In the petition, Odinga is asking the court to nullify the vote's outcome on several grounds, including mismatch between the turnout figures and the results, and failure by the commission to tally ballots from 27 constituencies, as required by the law. The IEBC, its chairman Chebukati and Ruto, have 4 days to respond to Odinga's claims through court filings. Azimio has also cited the split in IEBC after 4 commissioners publicly disowned the results declared by the chairman Chebukati among the grounds to dispute the outcome of the presidential vote.
We are bringing into focus many other things, including the commission itself. The commission has become a cesspool of transgressions and criminality, and we're accusing the chairperson of the commission for running the commission in a very dictatorial manner. We are also taking into account the manner in which the technology that was used in the conduct of the elections was abused, and we have evidence where systems, networks, laptops, and the entire KIMS kits were corrupted in order to achieve a result in favor of Mr. Ruto.
Odinga's petition against Ruto's win in the highest court in the land will be heard by the 7-member judge bench and presided over by Martha Koome, Kenya's first female chief justice, who was appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta in May 2021. The court will next conduct status conference with all the parties to define the hearing schedule and the ground rules. The Constitution requires judges to issue their decision within 14 days of the lawsuit being filed, but due to their tight schedule, the court usually issues a summary judgment within 14 days, followed by more thorough decisions from each of the 7 judges at a later date. 62-year-old Chief Justice Martha Koome, 64-year-old Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, 66-year-old Mohamed Ibrahim, Justice Njoki Ndung'u, who is 56-year-old, 62-year-old Smokin Wanjala, 54-year-old Isaac Lenaola, and 60-year-old William Oko, who are hearing the petition, have until September 5th, 2022 to determine the petition.
You have been shocked that as we prepare to go to court, others tried to stop us. Kenyans and all those who followed our campaign will recall that fighting and ending corruption in Kenya was a core agenda throughout our campaign as Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
In the year 2017, the Supreme Court, led by then Chief Justice David Maraga, overturned the presidential election results in a petition by Odinga and Oreda Rirana, which Odinga boycotted, saying he had no faith in the Election Commission.
The law on the IEBC provides that unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by a majority of the members present and voting.
Deacons Luvanda, Hope TV News Watch.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya team arrived at the Supreme Court of Kenya in the company of supporters to table their physical petition just a few hours before the set deadline, which was 2 p.m. Leading the team was the presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga and his deputy Martha Karua, in the presence of their defense team, which consists of Professor Tom Ojienda, Otiende Amolo, Paul Mwangi, Lawyer Philip Murgor, Makueni Governor-elect Mutula Kilonzo, Siaya Governor-elect James Orengo, among others. Speaking after filing the petition, Orengo expressed confidence that they had enough evidence that should see the court determine the case in their favor. Grace Wangoi has this report.
The much-awaited petition by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition has finally been filed at the Supreme Court. The petition, which had been filed online Monday morning, saw hundreds of Azimio supporters arrive at the Supreme Court to welcome the arrival of the Azimio Coalition team, which was expected to present a physical copy at the court's registry before 2 p.m., which was the deadline. Few hours to the deadline, the Azimio team, led by the presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga and his deputy Martha Karua, and in the company of a host of other Azimio leaders, arrived with a bang, causing the crowds to cheer. Quite conspicuous was the canter they arrived with, carrying huge stacks of evidence to be tabled in court.
The legal team, we are picking the primary documents first.
According to the Siaya Governor-elect James Orengo, who is part of the Azimio team of lawyers, the evidence they intend to table before the 7-judge bench is enough to ensure the court determines the case in favor of Raila Odinga. Azimio One Kenya has come out to declare that the election conducted by IEBC was not free and fair, and the announcement of William Ruto as president-elect was null and void. IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati announced that Ruto had won with 50.49% against Odinga's 48.85%.
We have evidence where systems, networks, laptops, and the entire KIMS kits were corrupted in order to achieve a result in favor of Mr. Ruto. I have never seen a most corrupt election in our country.
Odinga, who later addressed supporters at the KICC, expressed confidence that his team had enough evidence to indicate that he had won in the election.
Tuna hakika ya kwamba tuko na ushahidi wa kutosha ya kuonyesha kwamba sisi ndio tulishinda uchaguzi huu. Imedhihirika wazi baada ya sisi kufanya uchunguzi na wale wengine ambaye walishiriki katika hiyo ulaghai kujitokeza kama Wakenya kusema maovu imefanyika hapa Sisi wenyewe tuliitwa, tulipwa pesa, lakini tuko tayari kutoa ushahidi, na shahidi yuko hapa.
Additionally, Raila pointed out that there were corruption cartels who had infiltrated Kenya's electoral system. According to Raila, if allowed, the said cartels will gain a stronghold in the government and continue their illegal activities that include drug trafficking.
The corruption cartels are prepared to compromise electoral systems, bribe electoral officials, make security systems look other way, or even kill in order to find their way to power and their ill-gotten wealth and continue stealing from the public. We believe this is what happened in this election. For the sake of Kenya's future, the corruption network must not only be stopped, it must also be crushed. The corruption cartels know there are multiple benefits for them if they take over. Their members dealing in illegal drugs will thrive through greater ease in the transportation and distribution of drugs throughout the country, and they will ensure nobody else but them thrive.
So far, 4 petitions have been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the declaration of William Ruto as the president-elect in the 2022 general election.
This is petition number, the E number which has been assigned to the petition.
Grace Ongoi for TV News Watch.
Now, the Supreme Court has received at least 8 presidential petitions seeking to challenge the outcome of the 2022 general election. The petitions have been received by the Supreme Court Registry, and they include petitions by John Njoroge Kamau, Caleb Khalif, Youth Advocacy Africa, David Kariuki Ngari, Azimio la Umoja petition by Raila Odinga, Okiya Omtatah, Julia Nyokabi Chege, Moses Kuria, and musician Reuben Kigame. Meanwhile, presidential hopeful Reuben Kigame in his petition has challenged the validity of the August 9th general election, calling on the Supreme Court to nullify the polls. Kigame in his petition has listed the IEBC as first respondent and IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati as the second respondent. Kigame, who was locked out of the presidential race, has blamed the IEBC for putting in place unreasonable deadlines for presidential aspirants to submit copies of identity cards of registered voters in order to be cleared to run. At the same time, activist, now Senator-elect Okiya Omtatah claims that none of the presidential candidates reached the 50+1 threshold. He wants the Supreme Court to nullify the results of the election. Meanwhile, Moses Kuria in his cross petition seeks to prove that Raila Odinga committed an election offense and therefore says IEBC should not be directed to issue him with an election certificate. In the petition, Kuria says Raila caused violence at the Bomas of Kenya Tallying Center through his chief agent, Setaboy Ole Kanchori, and others. The Azimio One Kenya Alliance moved to court to challenge the election results, citing errors in the counting and tabulation of results. However, this is not the first time an election petition is filed, as it was the case in the aftermath of the 2013 and 2017 general election, with Raila Odinga being the main petitioner. The report of the Kriegler Commission on the crisis that followed the 2007 general election placed a special requirement of fiduciary duty on the Supreme Court of Kenya in relation to any matter alleging election fraud. Tess Njenga has more.
The report by the Kriegler Commission to resolve all issues regarding presidential election and make a ruling led to the setup of Supreme Court. After the hearings, the court's decision will be final. Going down memory lane in 2017, when the court nullified the election results following an election petition by then NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga, the complaint was that the IEBC announced results on the basis of Forms 34B before receiving all Forms 34A. It was also alleged that the results announced in Forms 34B were different from those displayed on IEBC's public web portal. In the 2013 election, Raila decried massive failures of the biometric voter registration BVR kits, the results transmission and the results presentation system. However, the 6 sitting judges unanimously agreed that the elections were indeed conducted in compliance with the Constitution and the law. There seems to be slight improvement in how IEBC has handled the 2022 general elections in terms of transparency, as all the Form 34A's results were declared final at the polling stations and IEBC made all the documents accessible on their portal, something the Azimio coalition contests. There was also the use of backup BVR kits as the manual register was ruled out unless in cases of emergency. However, the Azimio coalition is disputing the 2022 election results that saw the IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati declare Deputy President William Ruto the president-elect. A question has also been raised on the credibility of the IEBC commissioners following a recent division in the just concluded elections where 4 commissioners disputed the 2022 presidential election results. The commission has also experienced murder of its officials, the latest being Daniel Musyoka, a returning officer for Embakasi East, who went missing on the 11th of August and his body was later found at Oloitoktok, and the late ICT manager Chris Msando, who was murdered while on duty before the 2017 elections. In an open letter to the people of Kenya, the electoral body has proposed some amendments, including shielding it from politically induced pressure, both in its formation and operations, that it is granted operational and financial autonomy, that it maintains a permanent competent staff and secretariat on a long-term basis, that the security of tenure of the commissioners is secured, and that the electoral reforms, policy and legislation are finalized at least 2 years before the elections. For now, the IEBC will be grappling to defend its decision to announce the results of the presidential election that declared William Ruto of the United Democratic Alliance as president-elect. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Moving on, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has announced that it will conduct by-elections on Monday next week in areas where the polls were postponed in the concluded general election. Those postponed include Mombasa and Kakamega governor elections, MP races in Kitui Rural Constituency, Kacheliba Constituency, Pokot South Constituency, and Rongai Constituency, as well as MCA races in Nyaki West Ward in Meru County and Kwanjenga in Nairobi County. IEBC had set the by-election for the 23rd of August before postponing it indefinitely last week, citing harassment and intimidation of its staff. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, the announcement of the by-election date followed the electoral body's meeting with candidates in all the affected areas at the Bomas of Kenya, which was also the first time IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati met the 4 commissioners who disowned the presidential election results in a press conference, alleging that the presidential results were arrived at in an opaque manner.
On the 29th of August, that is Monday next week, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC will hold by-elections in areas where the elections were postponed.
We have agreed that we shall hold the postponed elections on the 29th of this month. That's next Monday. All the elections which were postponed will be held on the 29th of August 2022. The Commission has already prepared, the ballot materials are already here. We are also in the process of preparing the KIMS kits to ensure they are in the various elective areas during this week. And the returning officers have also attended the meeting. They'll be preparing the staff who will participate in those elections.
They include the Mombasa and Kakamega governor elections, MP races in Kitui Rural, Kacheliba, Pokot South and Rongai constituency, as well as MCA races in Nyaki West Ward in Meru County and Kwanjenga in Nairobi County. IEBC had set the by-election for the 23rd of August before postponing it indefinitely last week, citing harassment and intimidation of its staff.
As a commission, we felt that these elections must take place. These elections must take place as soon as possible, because we need to move on, we need to have finality, we need to do party lists, which cannot be finalized without these elections taking place.
If we had opened this ballot a week before the election, it will have been a news headline all over the country. So it's part of that's why we had come to discover these disparities late in the day.
We are going to communicate with the Ministry of Education. So if they are going to allow us to use the schools for that specific day, then that's good. But if not, what we are saying is that we are not going to move very far from there, just adjacent to the school, so that if the schools are going to be used by our children, then adjacent to that, maybe in the playing field, in that specific area, we can just pitch tents.
We have also allowed the candidates to do campaigns for the next 4 days and stop for 48 hours before the election date on Monday 29th.
The announcement of the by-election date followed the electoral body's meeting with candidates in all the affected areas at the Bomas of Kenya, which was also the first time IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati met the 4 commissioners who disowned the presidential election results via a press conference, alleging that the presidential results were arrived at in an opaque manner. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Meanwhile, the ODM brigade in Mombasa County has remained upbeat that their candidate Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir will beat other 6 competitors despite the governor's election being postponed twice. On Wednesday last week, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati, postponed the Mombasa and Kakamega elections indefinitely, citing harassment and intimidation of his staff. The matter had been taken to court and was scheduled for hearing today, Monday 22nd August, before the Malindi High Court Judge Stephen Githinji. However, during the hearing, which was conducted virtually, it was pushed to Wednesday, August 24th, after it became apparent that the IEBC and the candidates had reached a consensus that election will be held on Monday, August 29th. Nasir has called on his supporters to come out in large numbers and vote. In the general election, ODM clinched 26 out of 30 MCA seats and 5 out of 6 Member of Parliament seats.
Mheshimiwa Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir alichukua hatua ya koti, na leo hii naamini Chebukati amejua koti za Kenya zinafuata haki, na kabla haki haijaweza kufanyika, kwa vile alijua haki ya koti alopeleka Abdulswamad itaamua uamuzi uendelee wa kura ipigwe Mombasa.
Mimi nawaomba wana Mombasa, tarehe ya kwanza waliweza kuipiga X, tarehe ya pili wakaipiga X, panapo majaliwa tarehe hii ya 29 mimi nawaomba na nawaambia na nawasihi wana Mombasa, sauti yenu, dhulma zote waloweza kuzileta kwetu sisi, X yenu ipige pale kwa jina la Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir, tuwanyamazishe hawa mara ya mwisho. Asanteni sana na mubarikiwe.
Tarehe 29 tutoke mapema tukapige kura zetu, kwa sababu hawa tuliona juzi walipoona wamezidiwa vita wakaanza kuleta vurugu kule Chuda Social Hall. Kisauni pia walileta vurugu, Likoni pia walileta vurugu kwamba wameibiwa. Lakini safari hii tuwashinde mapema asubuhi.
Tunajua baba na timu yetu leo wanaenda kule Supreme Court. Na sisi tunamuombea baba. Tunafanya swala, tunafanya maombi. Tunajua haki ya mnyonge haitapotea, na tunajua justice goes with peace.
All right, with that, let's take a short break on Newswatch. We still have more coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live. Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
All right, welcome back to News Watch. Now, the National Council of NGOs, the NGO Council of Kenya, is appealing to Kenyans to remain patient and bear with the Supreme Court as it moves to interrogate to give its determination of the recently concluded contested presidential election. Addressing the media on Monday, the Council Chairman Stephen Cheboy urged all political parties and their supporters to allow the judiciary time as provided by the law. Dolly Murigi Mbuvi reports.
Kenyans have been urged to remain calm and peaceful while the Supreme Court handles the presidential result dispute in every part of the nation. Speaking on Monday, the National Council of NGOs Chairman Stephen Cheboy further urged all the winners and losers for the various positions to continue in the same peaceful spirit of give and take to avoid any possible election-related violence or acrimony.
We would like to appeal to Kenyans that let us maintain peace. Yes, we also appreciate Azimio party, One Kenya Coalition, for following the channel provided by law to go to the courts of law. We really want to appreciate them for that, and it's our appeal to all Kenyans that they should maintain peace.
The council took time again to appreciate Kenyans for voting peacefully, saying the council was satisfied with the way voters conducted themselves and Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IEBC officials through reports received from the county and sub-county network who monitored the process.
Our prayers are going to them that they'll be able to do their best as our God is enabling them, and this will take us to the next level of where we are going after the general election.
The council is, however, confident that the judiciary will deliver well in the interest of the nation.
Uchaguzi sio uadui. Kuna mshindi na kuna yule ambaye ameshindwa. Na yote unakubali. Maana leo unaweza kushinda, kesho mwenzako akakushinda.
We embrace the victory of peace because it will be promoting our developments everywhere. Even the business community, non-business community, all of them, they depend only on the peace. We have also witnessed a very civilized democratic transition here because the leaders have gone to, not to violence, but to resort to the peaceful means of going to the court. Let the justice be prevailed for both of them.
Azimio la Umoja Coalition seeking legal redress regarding the presidential result declared by IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has on Monday filed petition at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had already set preparation to receive, hear and deliver ruling in the event of a presidential petition. The case will then be heard and determined by September 4th, 2022. Dolly Murigi Mbuvi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
Away from that, the Ministry of Education has on Monday launched a new re-engineered National Education Management System, NEMIS. The upgrade system will give authorized users direct access to data and will enhance learner tracking and monitoring by parents who are now enabled to view their children's performance, attendance and transition on the system. Speaking during the launch at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha noted the new upgraded system will provide more accurate data and has been fine-tuned to serve all the stakeholders in the education ministry.
Although the National Education Management System, NEMIS, is popularly known for being responsible for selecting schools that Class 8 candidates can join in Form 1, the data management system was set up for more than just that. NEMIS was set up to help streamline the data management for informed decision-making and planning of the education sector by hosting learners both in primary and secondary schools' data. Additionally, data found on NEMIS helps the Ministry of Education send capitation funds to schools. However, the system has faced numerous challenges, including not being intuitive enough for the users, having disjointed data, and some infrastructural challenges. Based on these challenges, the Ministry of Education has re-engineered the management system. A few aspects that have been reviewed include learner management process, school management, selection and admission process, management of the selection and admission exams process, school registration, projects management, budgeted programs management, and integration with other stakeholder systems. While launching the re-engineered NEMIS, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha noted that the new upgraded system will provide more accurate data and is fine-tuned to serve all the stakeholders in the education ministry.
The parents will now be able to initiate transfers of their children from one school to another, ensuring that there is efficiency, and that removes all the other interfaces, all the other Kenyan interfaces with which you are very familiar. You know what happens, where your child does actually not qualify using either affirmative action or ability to go to a certain school X, but you add a brown envelope in the process. That brown envelope is permanently removed from this process.
According to Magoha, the re-engineered NEMIS will allow parents access to the system to allow them to view the children's performance, attendance, and transition on the system.
We can now watch if you are building a boarding house at Kanyenyaini, which is my district, and it is Kanyenyaini Secondary School, and you are building a boarding house for 750 people there. We can log in and see how you are doing it. If you wanted to hide, like as was in the past, where we have 10 shillings, and we want to use that 10 shillings to build a classroom at Kapsabet Boys High School. But Kapsabet Boys High School has an extra capacity. We will see that and we will catch you and take you to jail.
Grace Wangoi for Hope TV News Watch.
Now, police in Jiru Sub-County, Nairobi County, are still investigating a domestic incident that left a man and his daughter dead on Sunday. The man, identified as Dennis Musyoka, is reported to have stabbed his ex-wife before setting himself and their daughter on fire inside their car. According to a police report from Soweto Police Station, where the incident was reported, police officers from Soweto Police Station visited the scene and found the body of Dennis Musyoka, 34, in a motor vehicle having been burnt partly. It was established that the deceased had requested her estranged wife to bring their daughter so that he could bond with her. The deceased entered the vehicle carrying a bag, where he immediately removed a knife from the bag and stabbed his estranged wife 4 times on the neck before setting the car on fire with their daughter still inside. The lady managed to jump out of the vehicle and was rescued by Good Samaritans, who took her together with the daughter, who had serious burns, to Mama Lucy Hospital. The daughter, aged 2.5 years old, succumbed to the burns. A knife and a partly burnt 5-liter jerrycan suspected to have contained petrol were recovered at the scene.
Tulikuwa tumetulia tu hapa, tunapiga demboka, tunapiga wera, tukachiki gari imekam.
Gari kukam, kachukua hiyo chuo, ikaingia pale hivyo, ikahold. Pale hivyo mali mmecheki. Kuhold hapo hivyo, madakika kiasi hivi kukakarada hivi na cheki manze. Buda manze amepiga madamu wake mpini. Unacheki? Piga madamu mpini, si madamu ndio ametoka mbi. Madamu ametoka mbio. Kwenda kumsaidia tukachiki amepiga lock kwa gari. Jaribu kuvunja kufungua. Tukachiki melupuka. Sasa unajua kilupuka lazima pia unaangalia safety yako kusiko ubaya. Ndio tukachukua hizi machine zetu zenye tunazitambua sana. Hii kwanza hii ndio inaningiza maziwa. Tukachukua machine. Kuchukua hii machine yetu tukavunja dirisha, tukavunja mlango, tukarescue mtoi.
Bibi alikuwa ameinhale ile moshi kidogo na alikuwa na hiyo injury ya kisu. Kwa hivyo alikuwa mzuri. She was fast rushed na wakiwa na mtoto pia because of hiyo kuinhale hiyo moshi. Bwana na yeye alikuwa kiti ya nyuma. Unfortunately alikufa.
Let's look at some business news now. Small-scale tea farmers affiliated to factories managed by the Kenya Tea Development Agency, KTDA, are set to benefit from a consignment of fertilizer that arrived in the country over the weekend. A ship loaded with fertilizer docked at the port of Mombasa with fertilizer which will be packaged and distributed to outgrowers across the country. The first ship arrived with a consignment of 41,000 metric tons of fertilizer. The fertilizer equivalent to 820,000 bags was ordered from Russia and arrived at the Mombasa port on Saturday. The second batch of 47,000 metric tons will arrive in the country in the first week of September. Confirming the news, KTDA Board Chairman David Ishoho said the bulk importation of the NPK fertilizer leverages economies of scale, and this enables farmers to secure the fertilizer at the best possible price.
We had ordered for 88 metric tons. Kwa hivyo kuna meli nyingine ambayo iko njiani ambayo itakuja baadaye. Hii itakuwa hapa kwa muda kuelekea kuanzia kesho. Kwa ataanza kuweka kwa bags na kuhakikisha hiyo fertilizer yote imewekwa kwa mabag na kuelekeza upande wa Nairobi na kupeleka kwa factories. So tunakuambia wakulima wetu mbolea imefika ya kwanza, ile ship ya kwanza. Hiyo ship ya pili bado iko njiani. Hii fertilizer inatarajiwa kubebwa na SGR. Kwa hivyo we expect a quick evacuation light from here all the way to Nairobi, and from there it will be taken back to the farmers. We are expecting a wet season mwezi wa 9. Kwa hivyo ikifika wakulima wataweza kuweka mbolea yao na iweze sasa kwa hii tuongeze mazao yetu. Tuliweza kupata all the quantities ambao tunakusanya mahitaji yote ya wakulima ya mbolea kutoka kwa all the factories. Na ile mbolea tumekuwa tumeonda to support us na we are optimistic itatosha kwa wakulima wote.
Now, Thiba Dam in Kirinyaga County that cost the government 7.8 billion shillings and billed as the game changer for Kenya's largest rice scheme is now full with 15.6 million cubic meters of water. Rice production in the Mwea irrigation scheme in Kirinyaga County is set to double once the 15 million cubic meter dam starts being utilized to irrigate paddy fields in the expanded scheme. Speaking at Thiba Dam after inspecting the capacity of water through the spillway, Communication Manager at the National Irrigation Authority, Daniel Nzonzo, said the dam will open to provide water to farmers during the dry season, allowing them to grow rice twice a year. To dispel fear from worried residents, Nzonzo said the water going out of the dam is a safety evacuation procedure to release excess water when the dam reaches full capacity.
Hii ni bwawa lenye liko researched. Tumeweza kudetermine ile maji inahitajika huko chini kwa hizo 2 seasons, na kwa hivyo tuko na controls na maji yenye tumeweka hapa tulianza kuitumia kwa kutoka mwezi wa Julai, na ndio maana tukafunga. Manake hii maji kuna ile wakati inahitajika mingi kwa wakati wa upanzi na wakati wa flowering wa mpunga. Kwa hivyo tuko na hakika hakutakuwa na upungufu wa maji kutoka leo kwenda na mbele.
Kabla tuweke hili bwawa ama huu ukuta ambao ni wa kuzuia maji, mto Thiba ulikuwa unapitisha maji kwenda chini. Wakulima wa Mwea wanatumia kwa kilimo cha mpunga, na wananchi mamilioni zaidi ya wananchi huko chini wanatumia kwa mahitaji tofauti ya nyumbani na kilimo na mambo mengi zaidi. Wakati tuliweka huu ukuta ambao ni kuweza kuzuia maji ambayo yatatumika wakati kuna kiangazi, na tukafunga lile gate, tulikuwa tunaachilia tu maji ile inaitwa environmental flow ambayo ni about 2 meters cubic per second. Lakini wakati bwawa limejaa kwa spillway, na sasa maji yanapita ile excess. Kwa hivyo haya yale maji ambayo yalikuwa yanapita kwa mto tu tumezuia kiasi fulani ambayo ni 15.6, na yale mengine yote ambayo yanakuja yanaenda chini kwa mto. Kwa hivyo wananchi ambao wako kule chini wanatumia haya maji kwa manufaa yao yale ya kawaida, kwa kilimo, matumizi ya nyumbani, mifugo na kadhalika. Na hivyo basi ni kusema kwamba haya maji yanasaidia wananchi huko chini, na wakati kutakuwa na kiangazi, wakati maji itaenda chini, ndio sasa tutaanza kutumia maji, tutafungua tena kwa damu kulingana na mahitaji ya mradi kule chini, ili tuweze kuendeleza kilimo cha mpunga.
And some sports news now. Malindi Town will next weekend host the first ever national golf tournament at the Malindi Golf and Country Club. The event is expected to boost sports tourism and help revive the tourism sector that has suffered major setbacks from the COVID-19 and the general election. Plans are at an advanced stage to ensure the event becomes a success, with reports from organizers indicating participants have started booking hotels in the resort town. Walter Mbogo, the captain of the Malindi Golf Club, said the first inaugural Vasco da Gama Cup is a Kenya Golf Union competition that will attract over 120 best mature golfers in the country. In an interview, he said the existing committee has organized several competitions, including the Coast Ladies Circuit Tournament held last week, which was successful as over 150 ladies came to participate. And Manchester United will face off with Liverpool tonight in a Premier League fixture at Old Trafford, with the fierce rivals searching for a fast win after underwhelming start to the season. Liverpool have yet to lead after drawing their opening 2 games against Fulham and Crystal Palace, with Jurgen Klopp has had to contend with injuries and a red card for new signing Darwin Núñez. The Red Devils have lost their opening 2 matches under Erik ten Hag, including a humiliating 4-0 defeat at Brentford. Anthony Joshua's bid to recapture the unified heavyweight titles ended in disappointment as Alexander produced a terrific performance to win by split decision in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. In a clash billed as the rage on the Red Sea, a spirited Joshua showed some aggression and intent, a vast improvement from their first fight, but could not match the brilliance and ring savviness of the Ukrainian. Joshua has now suffered back-to-back defeats against Usyk, with the champion retaining the WBA, WBO and IBF titles he won in London last year in September. All right, that's where we wrap it up on Newswatch tonight. Thank you so much for watching this live broadcast. Let's meet again tomorrow, same time. I'm Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke